Constantinople. The night of May 28, 1453, inside the imperial palace, Constantine XI moves from official to official. He embraces each one. He asks forgiveness for any wrongs he has done them. The liturgy at Hagia Sophia has just ended. He has received communion in the great church. Outside the walls, the Ottoman army is preparing the final assault. Before dawn, the emperor will ride out to the Blackenay section. He will not return. The court that performs this farewell knows it. The chronicle that records it knows it. The witness in the room is Georgios Sphrantzes, protovestiarios, personal secretary to Constantine. He writes down what he sees. The state has hours left. The protocols are still being performed correctly. Georgios Sphrantzes was born in 1401. He served the Palaiologos dynasty from early in his career. By the late 1440s, he held the rank of protovestiarios, senior court official, personal secretary to the emperor. He was present in Constantinople during the siege of 1453. He was at the palace on the final night. He was captured after the fall. He was enslaved, then ransomed. After his ransom, he retired to a monastery on the island of Corfu. There he completed his chronicle, the Chronikon Minus. The text covers 1413 through 1477. It is a memoir chronicle written from personal records and personal memory. It is not an official state chronicle. It is one man's account. For centuries, two versions of the Chronikon circulated, the shorter Minus and the longer Maius. Both were attributed to Sphrantzes. In 2011, Marios Philippides and Walter Hanak published a critical study of the chronicle's history. They established that the Maius was not by Sphrantzes at all. It was composed by Makarios Melissenos, a Greek metropolitan who died around 1585. Melissenos took the authentic Minus as his base and expanded it across the following century. This episode reads only the Minus. The Maius is reconstruction by a man born long after the fall. What the Minus records of May 28th and 29th, 1453, the liturgy at Hagia Sophia, the emperor's communion, the farewell embrace at the palace, the forgiveness asked of every official, Constantine's departure for the walls. What the Minus does not record, anything that happened at the walls during the final assault. Sphrantzes was not there. The chronicle's vantage ends at the palace door. It records the court performing its protocols. It cannot record the institution's death at the walls. This vantage is not a limitation to apologize for. It is the document's diagnostic feature. We read a court from the inside. The walls are not in view. What is in view is the protocol still being performed. What did Sphrantzes choose to record, and what did he leave out? The court knew the situation on May 28th. Auburn's cannon had been shelling the land walls for nearly 2 months. The major assault of April 18th had been repelled at heavy cost. No Western relief had arrived. Constantine knew the final assault was imminent. The decisions of that night were made with knowledge, not in denial. What Sphrantzes' records of the night is specific. The emperor went to Hagia Sophia. He attended the liturgy. He received communion from clergy he had known for years. He wept. He then returned to the imperial palace. Inside, he embraced his court officials one by one. He asked forgiveness of each official for any wrong he had done him. The chronicle names what was performed. It does not narrate what was felt. This farewell was not improvised. It was a standardized Byzantine pre-battle ritual. The form was both practical and spiritual. Practical, the emperor was preparing for death and settling his accounts. Spiritual, reconciliation before potential judgment. The court did not invent the ceremony on the night of the fall. It performed the ceremony the institution provided. Sphrantzes wrote the night down in the register of protocol recording. He named what was performed. He named who did what. He did not lament. Then his account stops. Constantine rode to the walls. Sphrantzes remained at the palace. The chronicle records the court's protocol. It cannot record the institution's death at the walls. The form of the chronicle reveals the mechanism. The institutional machinery operated correctly through the threshold. The liturgy was performed. The farewell was completed. The chronicle was recorded in its standard form. Each element of the framework functioned. What the framework managed was the experience of collapse. Its protocols prepared the people inside the palace for what was coming. What the framework could not do was prevent the collapse. The protocols were not designed for that. They were designed to manage it. After the fall, Sphrantzes continued the Chronikon for 24 years, captured by the Ottomans, enslaved, ransomed by other Greeks. Eventually he reached Corfu, took monastic vows and completed the text around 1477. The institutional form persisted in the document long after its political substance had dissolved. The chronicle that had recorded an empire kept being written by a man whose empire no longer existed. Constantine XI was killed in the fighting at the walls on May 29th. His body was never definitively identified. Sphrantzes notes this. Doukas confirms it. The emperor who performed the protocols of imperial continuity to the end left no confirmed remains. The protocol was complete. The institution it served was not. This pattern is not local to Constantinople. It appears across unrelated archives. The Hittite archive at Hattusa was excavated at Boghazkalis starting in 1906. Among the recovered texts is a set of prayers composed by Mursili II. He reigned around 1321 to 1295 before the Common Era. During most of his reign, a plague was killing his people. It had begun under his father Suppiluliuma I, around 1327 before the Common Era. It continued for approximately 20 years. Gary Beckman edits the standard collection of Hittite diplomatic texts. The prayers record what Mursili did. He went into the treaty archive. He read the records. He identified specific oath violations from earlier reigns. He named them. He prescribed amends. He addressed the gods through the established ritual forms. The framework operated. The plague continued. The Maya Khatoon system organized history in 20-year prophetic cycles. Each Khatoon carried a predicted character: drought, war, abundance, or restoration. When the Spanish arrived in the Yucatan in the early 16th century, the Maya world fractured. Cities fell. Political order dissolved. Lineages that had ruled for centuries were dismantled. The scribes did not stop writing. They composed the books known collectively as the Chilam Balam. Ralph Roys translated the most studied of them, the Book of Chilam Balam of Chumayel, in 1933. The scribes recorded the Spanish conquest from inside the prophetic framework. They did not place the conquest outside the Khatoon system as an unprecedented break. They fitted it inside the system as the fulfillment of a Khatoon. Matthew Ristall has shown that this scribal continuation reframed catastrophe in the institution's own idiom. The framework was not abandoned. It was applied to the event the framework could not have predicted. 3 archives applied their institutional frameworks correctly across the crisis horizon. The Minas, the Plague Prayers, the Chilam Balam books. The frameworks did not collapse at the breaking point. They were performed. Sphrantzes at the palace, recording the liturgy and the farewell. Mursili at Hattusa, reviewing the treaty archive against an insoluble plague. Maya scribes in the Yucatan, fitting the Spanish conquest into the Khatoon cycles. 3 documents, 3 institutional frameworks, same operation. The scribe records. The court performs. The framework holds even when the crisis exceeds what the framework was built to absorb. Ritual normality at terminal threshold. Protocols that outlasted the institution they served. Constantinople's prophecies offered miraculous deliverance. Its liturgies offered preparation for death. Both were institutional frameworks. Both operated correctly through May 29, 1453. Neither prevented what was happening. The frameworks were not asleep. They were doing what they were built to do. What they were built to do was not enough. Subscribe to Omen History for the next file in this cluster. New episodes every weekday.